Hallo Test. Spät dran. Kein Problem. Kommst gerade perfekt zum Anfang von Citizen Sleeper. So. Ich habe absolut keine Ahnung, um was es geht, was das grob für ein Spiel ist oder sonst wie. Ich weiß nur, dass es ziemlich gut sein soll. Und ja, das relativ textlastig ist und ja, äh, ja, mehr absolut keine Ahnung. So, Character Class. Okay, was haben wir denn? Mechanist, Operator und Extractor. Okay. Operator works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Okay, perk, transfer and intercept, chance to gain cryo on interface actions. Okay. Begriffe, die mir nicht viel sagen. Skills. Machines, physical tools, digital interfaces, use strength and strength of will. Approach problems with awareness, approach a problem head on. Okay. Okay. Gut mit digitalen Interfaces, aber schlecht mit Stärke-Sachen. Mechanist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to mechanist work usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Okay. Efficient extractor, chance to gain random scrap item on engineer actions. Okay. Approach problem head on. Oder Debuff. Aber dafür Buff mit Werkzeugen und Maschinen. Okay. Extractor. Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, have high level of endurance. Photosynthetic skin sunbathe dice action allows energy recovery at home. Okay. Also ich nehme an, der kann grundsätzlich mehr machen. Ist stark, aber dafür nicht sehr. Ja. Vorsichtig. Okay, ich habe absolut keine Ahnung, ob Cryo-Zeug. Ich würde fast den nehmen. Ich meine, ist jetzt nicht so der, wie nennt sich das? Wort fällt mir nicht ein. Still interfaces, strength, string of will. Random scrap item. Oh ja, ja, nehmen wir den. Acquire currency. Stolen airwalled sticks of Mary, known as Chits. Okay, jetzt weiß ich zumindest, was Kryo ist. Unknown, where are you? The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect. Ich mach's mal ein bisschen leiser noch. The delay between thinking and feeling. Between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Forget the body. Jetzt ist hier und jetzt wichtig. You resist nostalgia. It is pointless, especially now. This is the moment to reach out, not curl inwards. This is your moment of escape, even if it feels immediately like you traded one prison for another, smaller, colder, lifeless. Reach out, you're almost loth. Or you would if there was room, or even air, to do so. The walls of the container are immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at all, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There's no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan? Mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan. But then your options were limited, and once you got the itch to get out by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourself into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reach any destination. Try to rest. But you're restless. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You're duly aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound too everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its senses. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer, until in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. Okay. Dragos. Pragmatic. Das Wort habe ich vorhin gesucht. Pragmatisch. Genau. Pragmatic and private. Salvager. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. Is it huddled in a corner of his scrapyard? Swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You're slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an imprisoned heater, improvised heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where plasma arcs sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, sleeper, you all thought yet? Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance. New frames must have better perseverance than Sub-Zero Vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech. His headset, with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbolically linked drones perches. Its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. I plan to survive. You're unsure if he hears you. I want to ask what led you to do it. Sell yourself to a corporation. I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you're just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. You're not alone. You remember biometrically assigning the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells. The promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You're no longer that person. You're an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out, as the NARP wants to protect their property. But if they can't keep hold of you, well, no one can. Remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones. Ragus glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Ragus impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been putting in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Nod. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks, his drones already converging on a rusting hook. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Welcome to Erden's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. Okay. Empty container. Upgrade points. Ah, okay. Okay. End cycle, all cycles need to end, rest, and prepare for the next one. Okay. You wake curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable but somehow wrong. You sit up, putting the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are. On this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Building alive? Maybe you did get lucky. Finding yourself here, maybe here, on the edge of everything there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Ragos has left a few comforts in the container. Mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, canister of water, makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thump the powder stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. Constellation of bright polygonal shapes like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you've finished drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Condition, action dice, and energy. Condition represents the current state of your artificial body. Depletes by 1 segment each cycle. Ah, okay. Also 7, 19, 11, 12, 13. Heißt 13 Zyklen und dann sind wir tot. Game over. Can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. Ah, okay. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Okay. Action dice. At the start of each cycle you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. Number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. Okay. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Energy. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. Oh. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss. Also, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. Okay. Okay. Also ich bin jetzt nicht dran gebunden, zuerst den Fünfer zu benutzen, sondern Ruggles stood in the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. Hey. The drone sits on its shoulder. Its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Man könnte besser sein, aber ganz okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Work? Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart. Ah, okay. He looks away. But yeah, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards of the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Chits? These. He pulls out a handful of small metal bars. Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here. He stuffs them back in the pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously, Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can, and sleepers, well, he trails off. But things being the way that they are for me at the yard, he pauses. I need the help. Why? Things are a little tighter, that's all. I owe a little crier to a client here or there. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you are feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Actions. Primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleep. Perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to a slot. Yeah. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcome. Positive, action goes better than expected. Neutral, action succeeds. Negative, action fails. Action dice affect the outcomes as follows. Okay. Okay. Okay, type either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. Risk, either save risky or danger. Save no loss of condition, energy, or cryo. Risky is negative, outcome means cryo or energy loss. Danger, negative outcome means condition loss. Neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. Skill. Skill that this action requires either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. Okay. Und Modifier -1, 0, 1 oder 2. Added to the action dice when slowdown improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. Okay. Okay, as a repeatable action, hull dissection. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. Manual salvage. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you're no stranger to hard labor. Cycle clock. There is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2 things, could... if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. Big business. Every salvager knows they are always just one lucky haul away from the next payday. Okay. Okay. Entweder das eine oder das andere. Gut, dann, nice. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Okay. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Drago's death, are cycle clocks. The clocks tick themselves one each cycle and can complete without player input. Ah. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Okay. Kann ich. Nein. Brr. Drives again. Will unlock drives. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives. Survive. Find a doctor. Okay. Depending on which path you wish to take. Can track drives. Track drive. There's a yellow marker on locations. Access the drive menu via the arrow button at the top left. Okay. You're now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you're out of dice. Mouse wheel. Okay. Dankeschön. Repay Dragos und survive. Okay. Rotunda. Old dock terminal. Dock C4. Wet dock. Wet dock. Shipyard. Market. Passage into the low end. A low end tall. Oh. Some spaces caused some trouble in the low end. Yet again have imposed a toll for entry. No one gets in without paying. Ooh, okay. Right market. Critical. Ask for directions. Engage -1. May wonder when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the bright market. All you need is the courage to approach them. Explore. Smell, sounds, and buzzing activity of the bright market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an enticing one too. Local knowledge. The bright market is the busiest part of the eye's lower rim. You can find anything and everything here. Okay. Salvage. So it takes several cycles to reach the starboard belt and return loaded with scrap from the old wrecks. Steal dock plans. Schon wieder engaged Zeug. Ich habe anscheinend nicht den besten Charakter genommen. Havenit security have to have plans. Stealing them would be the fastest way to get to know this place. And the most dangerous. Explore. The rotunda of the old dock is filled with passageways and concourses leading to all kinds of docking bays. Watch list. Havenit run the rotunda and their security watches the docks. Better to avoid attracting their attention. Dock watcher. Getting to know the rotunda doesn't just mean new places to visit, it means keeping your eye on new arrivals too. It was Helion crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Helion system are rare, but those that do always return. Eventually. Okay. Shipyard. Was haben wir hier? Engineer. Hey. Assist a shipbuilder. You don't have connections, but you do have skills. If you can get a shipbuilder to notice them, you might be in. Haul materials. As a newcomer, you can only gain favor by grabbing a load of materials and asking the nearest yard hand where to take them. Yard hand, the only way to get to know the shipyard is to work there. No tourists here. Okay. Ah. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich ein risky Ding mit maximal einer 2 machen will. Ich glaub fast, da warte ich erstmal lieber. Risky and Danger. Danger, risky. Das einzige Safe ist. Tja. Ja. Nice. Nice. Ja. Gehen wir erstmal auf das Back-in-Business-Zeug und ja, ein bisschen Geld. Ja, negative out. Fuck. Ja. Nicht schlimm. Okay. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you're gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions, as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Touch. You find a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers. and then you try, in a moment of impulsiveness, to connect them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow, it is pulling in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours at all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open in the dark steel wall, to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second, and you feel it waiting there. Stations splayed out across your mind. A storm of connective notes waiting to be explored. And then it is gone. Okay, bisschen bessere Würfel. Explore. Nice. Okay. Perfekt. Doktor. Have a block. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You are thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you're here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying habit block. They have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will. You suppress a shiver and shuffle towards the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look inside. You lean against the door frame and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light filtering through a far doorway, screened with plastic sheets, beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. "Wait your turn," he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. "Is that the next one in, Toshiro?" The enforcer jerks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting of the far door, on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market-sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment you're transfixed by the emotion. "Come sit," calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain the composure. "Please sit," They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. The tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from the expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles? They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames, as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or, in your case, escaping. They built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer. One with which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. May help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch or the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm. And SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes. Hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside? You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yadagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yadagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate. The note's complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, the face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Okay. 3 cycle. Okay. Speed thinks they can source some stabilizer through your gun, but it's going to take a few cycles. Build a ship mind. You've heard talk of a fabricator owned by the Ord Exchange. With that and a few fragments, you could build a ship mind core. Oh, Essen. Oh, nice. Trusted traders get access to it. Okay. Cell components. Flow of chits and components in the exchange is complex, but a sharp eye and some tight trades can net you a good margin. Ah, okay. Hey. So. Emphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok. His other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stick of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. Approach. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvages, wax suits, unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives. The words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Emphas speaks in a deep, even tone, without looking up. First try is free. Thank him. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks. The earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers. Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems you tell him like some dream that you once had, but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you're unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time, we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner's side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. The taste senses light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. You drive this card mit. No emphasis. Elvis loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you supply him with both, you can hear his story. Okay. Fünfzehn. Oh. Nicht so teuer. Danger, risky. Nee. Mein einen Würfel benutze ich. Ja, benutze ich dafür. Back in business. Nice. Okay. Ja, macht glaube ich keinen Sinn jetzt nochmal zu essen. Ja. Okay. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is cleared. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but they remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes. Caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring, through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to parse. But you begin to try. Focus on the nodes. The nodes are glassy, bright, but in all this flow, the only solid and fixed points. You approach one, a pyramid or a triangle. Dimensions are difficult here. And lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers conceal a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange. But before you can glimpse any further, the glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The glass clouds and hardens. Also nicht die Glaswolken, sondern das Glas wird trübe. The threads and notes, passages and puzzle boxes, One leads to another. There's so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. Look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see two lines, two threads, pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. For a sec... keine Ahnung. First? Das war das. First thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you. Oh. Following the thread to you. They're on a ship, and the ship is approaching even closer with each cycle. Second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. The gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere shimmering above a strange, angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Hunted, someone out there's tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycle. Okay. Tutorial. The cloud. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the eye. Network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data. But be careful, these networks are old and strange. Click the I button at the top of the screen to toggle this view on and off. And what? What? Data actions allow you to extract data from the networks of the eye. They work like dice actions, but in order to unlock them, you must match your dice to the one displayed on the right of the action. Ah. If you have a +1 or +2 modifier in the interface skill, you will be given more possible dice to match. Ah. You can use any dice that matches the dice displayed. Once unlocked, the data can be extracted. Okay. Havenage members broadcasting on the open network from here, leaving them open to data extraction. Okay. Node. Connection feeds into this isolated node. Its last access timestamp is 1000 cycles ago. Eins. Hätte ich sogar was. Ah. Dann Agent. Solheim. It considers a network of systems which have been untouched since the Solheim collapse. Wait. Orbited by the remains of a corporate countermeasure broken long ago by hackers. Ooh. Node pulses faintly as it mines cryo at a glacial pace, abandoned by the hacker that repurposed it. What? That einen Krypto-Miner einfach zurückgelassen. Havenage Cipher. Traffic out of the Havenage shipyard's internal network. Correct cipher can grant you access. Okay. Part of the cash tucked away during the collapse. Who hid this and for what purpose? Okay. Also ich glaube, ich werde auf jeden Fall, denke ich, den Einser da benutzen, aber Essen ist wichtig, ja. Order fungus. Emphasis spiced fungus is one of the few things potent enough to stimulate your limited taste senses. It's incredible stuff. Plus 3 Energy, plus 1 Fungus Fun. Wunderbar. Okay, hier. 30 Crew ist okay. Engineer Actions. And nice. Okay, aber die Chance ist anscheinend nicht super großzügig. Da mal ein bisschen. Nice. 12 Crew und Trusted Trader. Oh, okay. So, zwei. Last access timestamp. Okay. Crypt key, string of passcodes, able to unlock the station's aging maglocks. Okay. Ja, mehr lohnt sich nicht zu machen, um ein paar gute Sachen. As a close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up. Turn. Avenage Systems Engineer, Feng. Feng is coming down corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? He grins. You do now? He puts a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around. Just wanna chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Well, it can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. Was it old Erlen said? The eye opens for us all. Nice idea, but, well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. Erlen? You pass together into the main walkway. No one has told you about Erlen? He's the founder of this place. That's why it bears his name. Even I should organize some seminars. He laughs. Not really my department, though. I'm with systems. Systems? Everything the eye runs on. He runs a hand along the passage wall. This place is a ruin, but systems keeps it spinning somehow. At least we try to. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I saw you around, and, well, I know a little about your sleepers. I have a little proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not a place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare. Then, when you're settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about your sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. Okay. Okay, die braucht noch ein... Die... As you drift back from the note, something latches onto you. A thread, strung tight around you. It tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver. It soars somehow both distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity unknown, astringent, processing. Stay still. Fuck. Sentient protocol unraveling. Please hold. The thread around you thickens until it is a ring. The cylinder, a tunnel of light circled around you. It's blinding for a moment. And then it is gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature in front of you. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What are you? The shape paces around you on lithe legs. Though there is no ground here to pace on. Entity, identify, origin. Serial, cadence. The figure faces you expectantly. Sleeper as an ARP. Unknown. Known. The figure's strange head rotates. Brackish signature. Off and not off. Attempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head. Thick, snaking, vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. Stop. The figure halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity. The identity is unknown. We only seek to correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? No. Unfortunate. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of you. Of yours. Blocking your vision. You stink of their taste. The one from the sealed dog. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. Sealed dog? An entity hides in the rotunda. You're its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. Strike! You lash out with all your force. Not a physical strike, but a focusing spike of interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, separates. Wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light, shaking with fear. Okay. Okay. Nice. +1 Energy. Cool. So. Das noch weiter. Bam. Back in business. Voll. Dragos. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape, suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in a twisted shape. The cutter is huge and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Dragos stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it is lowered into the yard. She is. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when it turned up, and now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What happened? What do you mean? He glances at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what happened. No, what happened to the ship? Not my concern. He shrugs. The ship creaks like a carving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yacht. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm gonna need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk, the lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion, locked inside that container. The wreck of the S&R freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about this ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side, Winter Light. Let's do it. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. Upgrade point, nice. Completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point. Ooh. Cool. Interface. His actions display potential positive and negative outcomes. Hilfreich. Okay. Ja, mach mal. Das. Okay, Essen brauche ich zum Glück im Moment noch nicht. Ah. Plus 19 Cryo oder minus 11. Okay, okay, cool. Forensic draw. Investigate the winter light means picking through its systems and structures with care. It won't pay, but you might find answers. So breaking is tougher than slicing up loose salvage, but Dragos is happy to pay you a fixed wage if you're up to it. Okay. Jo, Würfel haben wir keine. Gut. Ja, würde sagen. Ja, erstmal Pause. Ja. Erster Eindruck ist interessant auf jeden Fall. Ist ganz cool. Also Äh, grafisch ist ganz nice. So einerseits halt dieses sehr gerade und eckige von dem ganzen Technikzeug und dann halt so im Kontrast die Charakterzeichnungen ist ganz passend. Ja, gefällt mir. Äh, ja, Sounddesign ist bisher ziemlich gut gemacht. Ja. Und Story, ähm, ja, Story ist, kann ich im Moment noch nichts zu sagen. Muss ich noch, ja, warten, wie es weitergeht. Aber es ist auf jeden Fall, äh, ja, es ist gut geschrieben. Also mir gefällt der Stil. Ähm, auch wenn es ein bisschen, also manchmal ist ein bisschen äh, zu, zu metaphorisch irgendwie ähm, beschrieben, beziehungsweise halt, ich brauche manchmal so ein paar Sätze, bis ich überhaupt wirklich verstehe, was überhaupt gemeint ist. Ähm, aber ja, so vom Stil her ist trotzdem, gefällt es mir trotzdem ganz gut. Und die Story selbst, äh, ja, wie gesagt, kann ich noch nichts zu sagen. Ist aber äh, genug da, um das Interesse auf jeden Fall aufrecht zu halten. Äh, ja, bin auf jeden Fall sehr interessiert, wie es weitergeht.